This is you coming to you in the form of a YouTube video to remind you of the truth of who you are, because you have forgotten. That is why right now, all of the limiting beliefs, all of the things that don't serve you, all of the old identifications and limitations within your own self-image, within how you actually view what's possible for you, who you are, all of these things are being cleared because they're built upon false foundations. Our social self, our identity, is essentially, for many people, in just an accumulation of wounds, an accumulation of these internalized imprints from our caregivers, from our society, from the culture, from the collective consciousness that we're born into. And it is all tainted through the frequency of separation. What's happening right now is there is a split in consciousness. There is a great split occurring. Now, if we were to break this down into density, right? A lot of people talk about, oh, we're entering the 5D. I'm going to break this down a little bit. I don't want to get too heady. I'll go into this more in different videos. But essentially what we're moving into is the activation of the remembrance that you are factually and actually a child of God. That you are the Word. That you are the Christ itself. Not your personality, but that the core of who you are, like a ray of light that comes from the sun, it is the sun. In the same way, you are God in action. You are the medium or the vehicle through which the divine can actually express itself in form. And we've forgotten that. But there's a difference between knowing that. A lot of people in the spiritual world know that conceptually. The shift we're going through is actually embodying that, remembering that cellularly. And so that's why all of the things that are not a match to that frequency are coming up to be integrated. Now here's the trick, here's the nuance. The old way of just spiritually bypassing this stuff, of trying to just positive think your way through this, of trying to just raise your vibration, is not going to work. It's very important work, but we need to integrate that into a more nuanced picture. What I'm talking about here is you can't just turn away from the parts of yourself that feel bad or wrong or not good enough and just like try and layer, like sprinkle on top, oh, I am, but I am a child of God. Like, that's not true. That's not like a deeply, that's true in, of course it's a higher truth, but true for your human, true for your relative social self. So the nuance, the trick is we want to meet these parts of ourselves and learn how to bring non-judgment and compassion and how to bring regulation in our nervous system so that we're not super triggered when this stuff comes up and that we can actually be with it without it hijacking us. That's what nervous system regulation allows us to do. That's what I work with people, you know, in coaching on. From there, once we've met that, we can call upon and open up to the love that is always here from the Creator, the love that is always here from God. Even if you can just open up to that a little bit, the fact that you are loved by God. And I'm using the word God intentionally because a lot of people go through this phase, which is so understandable, and I went through this too because I experienced religious abuse in my life. So I totally understand this, it's totally valid, but a lot of people go through this phase of like demonizing the word God and using the word universe or spirit, which is totally fine. But what you lose in that is a personal closeness. The revelation that there is a personal God for us each as individuals. It's all the one, right? But that there is a personal connection that our individuality has with the Godhead. That's completely unique to the word God, to the idea of God, right? And knowing that there is this creator being who loves you. And this is the thing, so many of us feel so unworthy, unconsciously, we feel so unworthy of that love. Oh, how could I possibly be loved? I'm dirty, I'm wrong, I have this thing, I'm in addiction, I'm in depression, I have this, that, whatever it is, right? Shame. What if all of that, exactly as you are, could be included in this love? Because this is an unconditional love. There's no prerequisite, there's nothing you have to do. You don't have to try to get this. This isn't about doing. So much of our value is tied in with doing. This is about receiving and being. Receiving through your being, through your beingness. And this is why it's so important to get out into nature, to get out into the ecosystem, to feel yourself a part of this. Because this is how we can titrate and resource. These are nervous system terms. What this means is, so we're not being completely hijacked by our wounds, we can actually pull frequencies, pull sensations, pull stabilization from our environment. Oh, it feels really good when I see that light over here, then the way it hits the grass. Let me tune into that. Let me appreciate that. Let me pull that in. I actually feel connected. I feel the womb of nature holding me. I actually belong here. And that's the entry point. So we can start to bridge that gap, guys. This is what I'm talking about. The Great Split is about becoming a unified individuality to where your ego personality is integrated into a higher octave, so to speak. The old spirituality tried to transcend the ego. That's not what we're doing here. That's not going to take us into the future, because we would have completely lost the whole purpose of evolution, of evolving an intellect and the ability to reason and to think with our free will individually. We don't want to get rid of that because we just regress. So we want to take that and integrate it into something that's beyond our personality, into the truth. This is remembrance. This is what ascension is. Ascension work needs to be tied in with the emotional embodiment work. That's what I'm pointing to here. And this great split that is happening, we're moving from third density, which is material individual consciousness, self, into fourth density, which is the era of love. This is the era of Christ consciousness. There are many layers to this. A few of them, it's the union of the inner masculine and feminine. It's the integration of our individuality into the oneness that is the truth of who and what we actually are. That's the revelation of the Christic revelation. Individual unity. That you are me and I am you, but we don't lose the sense of individuality. That's the nuance. And so what we're moving into, it's the era of the heart, of heart consciousness, because that's where this remembrance happens. It happens in the heart. That's what unifies our entire being. And so this shift is going to require you to surrender your mind. It's going to require you to release all of the baggage, all the things, all the outdated beliefs that don't serve you, the shit that's accumulated through being a human. It's going to require you to check that and release it. To check that bag, you know what I'm saying? It's going to require that. So that we can start to come into the true worth of what we actually are, the infinite potential, the power that you are actually it. You're already it. And to start to move from that place. What if it was already done? So this is the shift that's happening. It's moving from fragmentation to integration, from individuality to individual unity. And so just know that all of the upheaval, 2023 has been a year of upheaval. We need to be able to see the things that were hidden so that we can integrate them or release them if we need to. That's what's been happening this year. What was hidden is now revealed. All the things that we were avoiding about ourselves, all of the old weights that we can't carry to get to where God is trying to take us need to be released. All of the ways that we attempt to strive and be and do to gain validation through this false social identity gets to be given up on the altar of truth, and to create from peace and wholeness instead of from wounding and separation. That's what humanity is being invited into, because anything that we create, if it doesn't come from that frequency of remembrance and oneness and truth, it won't do anything for us anymore. It's like no matter what comes from that place, no matter good we think it is, it will not create harmony. You know, we see this all the time, something that gets created and we think it's great, and then we see, oh, you know, it actually is causing harm in a way that we didn't expect. For example, we have wind turbines that are supposed to create renewable energy, but the actual material that the turbines are made out of are not recyclable, and so they have to fill a landfill. So you see, it's like things like that. The true alignment we're all seeking in our lives can only come from remembrance. It can only come from awakening to this truth. That's the great split. There's only two paths. There's only two paths. Coming deeper home, coming into truth, or going deeper into the slumber, into forgetfulness, into dissociation and avoidance. And so we're remembering the fact, the actual fact that God exists, the actual fact that we're children of God, and the actual fact that we can allow that intelligence to move us to create heaven on earth. And so wherever you're at, it's exactly where you need to be. You're seeing this video for a reason, and just in this moment, tune into that fact that you are connected to God, that this force is guiding you. And invite it in. I'm open to seeing all the ways, God, that you are attempting to guide me and help me and facilitate transformation. I'm opening to seeing new pathways of possibility. And just let that code into your field. And let this intention ripple out into your life. Follow the signs, y'all. Catch you in the next video.